7 months ago, the Palisades burned. Celebrities held a massive concert. $100 million poured in for victims, and not one single penny reached a family who lost their home. Now, a reality TV star turned whistleblower has exposed where the money really went, including $50 million to an NGO run by the governor's wife. The funds have vanished. A congressman is demanding a federal investigation. The attorney general is now involved, and suddenly everyone's asking the same question. How does disaster relief money just disappear? The answer involves names that you know and corruption that you suspected, so don't go anywhere. Now, you probably think your 401k is safe, but it wasn't designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift retirement costs and risk onto you, leaving your savings exposed to crashes, inflation, and chaos. But Americans are waking up and taking control of real assets like gold. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands secure their future by converting part of their 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. It's safe and simple and smart. Visit nextnewsgold.com to get your free wealth protection kit and discover how to safeguard your savings. Open a qualified account today and receive 2 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coins absolutely free. That's nextnewsgold.com, your exit from the danger zone. Call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. And when you call, tell Colin Gary said hi. Okay, so a California representative, Kevin Kiley, is now officially asking the Attorney General to investigate where the missing $100 million in Pacific Palisades money went, the fire aid. He confirms it went to questionable nonprofits. Gavin Newsom, started a new NGO and took money, allegedly. Listen.
Mr. Speaker, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to open an investigation into the fire aid concert that took place in the aftermath of the devastating Los Angeles fires. What has happened, what we have learned, is absolutely beyond belief. In the aftermath of these fires, which destroyed 18,000 homes and killed, tragically, 30 people, there was a fire aid concert in which a number of high-profile musicians generously agreed to perform, and people responded in an amazing way. Tens of thousands of people donated, raising $100 million for what they were told was direct relief for the victims. But now we've learned that this money didn't go to the victims at all. Instead, it went to nonprofits, some of which have nothing to do with fire relief, where they promote things like voting and civic engagement and multi-generational power building. Some of them aren't even located in LA. So I've asked the Attorney General to open an investigation in order to restore the intent of the donors, in order to make the victims whole and to bring accountability. I yield back. Mr. Speaker, I have asked Attorney General.
Yeah, this is not over. Here's his tweet. I call for an investigation of how fire aid distributed $100 million raised for LA fire victims. Now a nonprofit focused on civic engagement received a grant, has returned the money. This is the right thing to do. These funds were intended for the victims. Listen.
Voting and well, I think transparency is what's needed here. And I know that there was one organization that has been cited that I actually cited in my letter that appears to have really nothing to do with fire relief, that is involved in civic engagement and voting. And I understand that the grant has been returned from that organization. So I guess that's one thing to do, that if there are other examples like that, of where maybe the funds were not allocated to the right type of organizations, then they can be redirected to the right kind of organizations, or ultimately to what will most expeditiously get the funds to the victims themselves, so many of whom are still struggling to rebuild. Unfortunately, for a whole host of reasons, I think it's been more difficult for a lot of people than it should be.
So this was obviously $100 million in private money. Governor Newsom is asking for $40 billion in public money from Congress. You talked about that process already. Where are we at in terms of getting that money? And could our aid essentially be coupled with Texas and other states that have gone through similar disasters or their own disasters? You think we're going to get that money?
Yeah, I think that, we want to make sure that folks in LA get the help that they need. That is certainly a top priority for me. It's very possible that it'll be coupled with other types of relief for other regions. That's happened in disaster bills that we've done in the past. I will say there is a lot of concern about making sure that the funding that is provided, if it ends up being distributed by the state or by Los Angeles, that it ultimately gets in the right hands and gets to the people who need it, because this is something that our state has not, and Los Angeles, frankly, has not always had the best record of. And I think there's also the question of the political barriers that continue to exist to the rebuilding process. So we want to make sure that people get the funds they need to recover and rebuild, and they actually have the ability to do so within the jurisdiction that they're in. So those are all questions that I think are related to one another.
Okay, continuing on here. Here is a woman who explains perfectly how Spencer Pratt is taking down Gavin Newsom for over $100 million that was supposed to go to LA fire victims. Instead, $50 million went to an NGO that Newsom's wife runs. That money is MIA.
Seen any. Watching Spencer Pratt take down Gavin Newsom is the best thing on the internet right now. Gavin Newsom threw a charity event where all these celebrities came and played a concert and raised $100 million for the fire victims of LA. Problem is, none of those fire victims has seen any of the money. So, C-list celebrity Spencer Pratt went digging to find out why. Spencer and Heidi Pratt's home burned down in the fires, and they have had all kinds of trouble trying to get permits to rebuild their home. Meanwhile, old Gavin Newsom's out here doing a land grab to build his low-income homes. So when Spencer started his digging to see exactly where this $100 million has gone, he discovered that $50 million of it had basically gone into Gavin Newsom's pocket. So now that Spencer has brought so much attention to it, an investigative journalist from Circle the News has gotten involved, and she has done her own digging on where this money has gone. She has discovered that instead of the money going directly to victims, that the money is going to several nonprofits. Some of these nonprofits are actually using the money to help victims and going to their nonprofits to provide things for victims, but many of those have zero ties to victims whatsoever. One of the nonprofits that received the largest financial grant is called Cal Volunteers. Guess who is the chair of that nonprofit? None other than Gavin Newsom's wife. So y'all go follow along, because this is so interesting that the Attorney General's getting involved to find out exactly what old Newsom is doing with the money for these victims. And anybody that exposes Gavin Newsom has my full support. Mind you, this is all alleged. I do not need some dirty Democrat coming after me.
This is all alleged. Alleged, right? That's how you got to frame it. So who is Spencer Pratt? Well, he is all over social media right now, and he is pissed as hell. Listen.
For anybody asking about me suing California and Los Angeles, this intelligent person breaks down our lawsuit perfectly. So please enjoy, get your popcorn, and you can see exactly what caused the Pacific Palisades fire. It's very, very clear.
Incentives, and we end up seeing the victims of the fires just get steamrolled. Fortunately, we have Alexander Robertson, who's the lead attorney, in filing this amended complaint against the city of Los Angeles. According to this filing, they believe that this was a rekindle of the Lockman fire, which ignited on New Year's Eve. This lawsuit alleges that they did not use thermal sensing equipment to make sure that the fire was dead out. The other issue, that reservoir, the San Ynez Reservoir that services the Palisades, was completely offline. It was completely empty. This extra distance they had to travel past the San Ynez helipad led to an increase of 6.5 hours. One of the biggest bombshells out of this, LADWP did not de-energize their lines. Not only does it create a potential hazard for more ignitions, but it's a safety hazard for firefighters. They're not going to be operating underneath power lines unless they know that they're de-energized. The other thing is, they were supposed to have replaced all of these wooden power poles years ago. That work never got done, and we're left with those wooden poles, which, as you can see, did not fare well. Allegedly, City of Los Angeles ignored its own brush clearance ordinances, and overgrown brush on city-owned vacant lots caught fire in the Castellamare section of the Palisades, which contributed to the rapid spread of the fire and destruction of homes. Allegedly, the failures of the City of Los Angeles were monumental and were directly responsible for the destruction of thousands of homes and loss of life in the Palisades fire.
For anybody asking about me suing California and Los Angeles, this intelligent person
Spencer Pratt, like I said, he's all over social media, blowing the whistle on this. Here he is more. It's been 7 months. Newsom, where's the independent investigation into Karen Bass?
Water system. Also called for an independent investigation into the issues around water supply that we've seen. What are the questions that you're hoping to answer?
The same ones you're asking. Same ones that people when I'm in the streets are asking, yelling about. What the hell happened? What happened to the water system? Was it, and by the way, Was it just overwhelm that you had so much that was used? We drew it down. Was it pipes? Was it electricity? It was a combination of pipes, electricities, and pumps. What was that drawdown impossible because you lost 7,000+ structures right here anyway, and every single structure we lost had a pipe that was leaking, and we'd have lost that water pressure anyway. Did it contribute in any way?
It's been 7 months. I would love to see this independent investigation to get down to what happened with the water. You mean the empty reservoirs that Karen Bass and the LADWP knew about? That. Can we get that investigation, please? Thank you.
Also called for an independent.
Yeah, we'll never see that investigation because it all points to Gavin Newsom. Here's more.
Newsom. Mark these words, like I said. Y'all, Spencer Pratt is going to take down Gavin Newsom. Mark these words, like I said earlier. He is going to ruin Gavin Newsom's political career. And he didn't even start getting petty until I have been following Spencer from the very beginning of all of this. He didn't start getting petty until Gavin Newsom's press office got petty. They called him a C-list celebrity. That's when the turn happened. Because at first he was very diplomatic. Very much so. And that was one of the biggest political blunders, and I love political blunders. It's my specialty. I like to talk about them. That's one of the biggest ones I've seen in a very, very long time. You have Spencer, who lost everything in the fires, who accurately called out very serious concerns, very serious criticisms. And instead of just responding to those in a way that a politician should, a way that a governor's office should, that cares about its citizens, they called him a C-list celebrity and thought that was cute. One of the most arrogant, out-of-touch things I ever saw. Spencer Pratt really might be the end of Gavin Newsom. Spencer is beating me at my own game. I tried to end Gavin Newsom. I was signing people up to recall Gavin Newsom.
Okay. Well, good luck to you there. So the fire scandal is just getting started. $50 million to Gavin Newsom's wife's NGO. Unbelievable. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, Spencer Pratt did what every journalist in California refused to do. He followed the money. $100 million raised for fire victims, and these criminals sent it to civic engagement nonprofits instead. $50 million to Newsom's wife organization, now mysteriously missing. This is not incompetence, it's straight up theft. While families slept in their cars, while kids lost everything, while communities turned to ash, Gavin Newsom and his cronies were dividing up charity money like mob bosses. Even Democrats are calling it criminal. Representative Kevin Kiley got Trump's AG involved, and nonprofits are panicking, returning money, but where's the rest? So here's my question. Should Gavin Newsom face criminal charges for the missing fire aid? Yes or no? Light up those comments and support real journalism at our Next News merch shop. You'll find the link in the description where you can trigger a liberal today at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.